Okay, Megavan, and welcome back to another random film review. I'm gonna try to make this review snappy. This is my review for, it'll be kind of like a two-part thing, for Spider-Man No Way Home. Okay, so this first part will be pretty much spoiler-free, or very maybe little spoilers, but maybe not really. It's just stuff that you've seen in the trailer. So, you know, this takes place after Far From Home, when Mysterio revealed his Peter Parker's or Spider-Man's identity as Peter Parker, and so everyone is like attacking him now, and like not fighting him, but just they're against him, and they're on the side of Mysterio, thinking that Mysterio was the hero. And then so Spider-Man, and this problem is now affecting his two best friends, Mary Jane and the Filipino kid. For some reason I can't remember his name now. I thought he was Chinese, but it turned out he's Filipino actually. So he goes to Peter Parker goes to Doctor Strange and asks him to make everyone, or to reverse time, but he no longer has a time stone. So Doctor Strange has this other idea to do it, to make people forget during this whole process. Peter is like disrupting him and breaking his concentration, so the spell kind of messes up, and what happens is I'll say it does something to bring, as you know from the trailers, the villains from previous Spider-Man films, which until now was not canon, but now technically is now canon, the Andrew Garfield ones and the Tobey Maguire ones, and it brings them to this this universe, this world, and that's what that is about. And that's all I'll say, and I'll just say now that the action in here is pretty cool. I will not say anymore, just in case you don't know there's certain things that are in here. I'll say the action is great. This has great emotional impact in this film. I'll say that there's quite a bit less comedy than the first two Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, which I thought the comedy on those two were starting to get a little bit more grandiose, and not necessarily in a good way. It was just okay, but I thought it started to get a little bit too much. This one, there's a little bit of that, but it's a lot more on the serious side, and serious repercussions and stuff that happen, and about choices, and I really like that. And I thought the action was very good. There's some surprises with certain characters, I'll say that. And I'm going to give Spider-Man, this is going to be the end of my spoiler-free review of it, Spider-Man No Way Home. I think, I saw IGN's review, and I think they give it like an 8, and that's pretty much accurate for me, but I think I'm going to say I'm going to give it like, I like it maybe just a little bit more, but, I'm going to say like an 8.5 out of 10, okay? So that's the end of, the spoiler-free review. I still have to, the next movie I have to review will be Antlers. I have to review that next. And, yeah. And be sure to stay throughout completely the credits. Mid-credits and then final credits. Let's say there's a mid-credit one, which is more of like a traditional hidden ending, and then the final end credits is more of like a nice sneak peek kind of trailer to another film that's going to be coming. So let's just say that. Okay, so that's the end of the spoiler-free review. Here comes the spoiler review. Okay, so spoiler. So keep that in mind. From here on, this is spoiler. Okay, spoiler review. Do not watch. All right, if you don't want to hear the spoilers. I'll say that in addition to the villains that appear in here, because what it is, the spell kind of messed up. So everyone that knows Spider-Man's identity, instead of erasing everyone's memory of him, you know, knowing that he's Spider-Man, everyone who knows he's Spider-Man, Peter Parker's Spider-Man, is coming to this universe. That's what's happening. And the villains you see, there's, you know, it starts off with Dr. Octopus, and then you see Green Goblin. He comes into the picture, and the whole thing is Doctor Strange now, he's pissed, and he says that, you know what, because of what you did, you know, you broke my concentration, now I have to kind of fix this, so you have to go out there, and all the villains that are coming over here, you have to blast them with this kind of thing, and it would teleport them into like a cell, this kind of magical cell in his Undercroft, in the Sanctorum. So that's what that's about, you know. And then he goes and gets you know, Jamie Foxx, you know, Electro. There's, you know, there's Sandman, the Lizard. They're in here, and then eventually what happens is, we learn the Filipino friend. Again, you know, I'm real sorry, I forgot his name, but the Filipino friend. How can I not remember his friggin' name? We find out he's magically inclined, because I guess apparently in his bloodline, you know, they they do stuff like that. I don't know, like maybe tarot reading cards, or so. They have some kind of connection to, you know, the occult, minor, you know, more like card reading and stuff like that. So he's magically inclined a little bit. So we discover this in this film and explore that a little bit more. He gets that thing. I don't know what it is. That kind of like a two brass knuckle thing that's in Doctor Strange movies, and he's able to open up those round portals, you know. So later on, you know, after Spider-Man, you know, captures the guys, you know, and puts them in that kind of zoo, you know, magical zoo in the Undercroft. Doctor Strange reveals that, you know, they have to go back to the point of before they got taken. They were taken before their demise, you know, like seconds before their demise. So they have to go back and die. But Spider-Man, you know, being the good guy that he is, says there's got to be another way. He wants to try to save them. So he takes the kind of like the box thing that's used, you know, it's not pertinent. It's mandatory for the spell to have that. He took it, and he took off, and then you have a nice little fight with Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, and then they fight in the mirror world, and Spider-Man traps him in there, and you know, you don't see him for a while, and then he comes back and he frees all of the other villains from the zoo, you know, the prison, the magical prison, and then they kind of you know, want to try to figure out how to send them, how they can go back without dying, and they come to the conclusion that he has to cure them, you know, so they don't die and kind of become evil. Now we know though with Norman Osmond, he's mental, so he flips out like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing. So, you know, sometimes he'll be Norman, sometimes he'll be the Goblin, but even when he's Norman, the Goblin is still kind of in the back of his head. So they have to really cure them. They cure Doc Ock first, so they make it so that he is in control of the mechanical octopus arms and not the other way around. Okay, so there's that. And then the Filipino kid, you know, it turns out, you know, well, I went ahead a little bit. Green Goblin betrays them, you know, and Jamie Foxx kind of had his eye on the thing that was powering the little lab that Spider-Man has going on. It's like a mini arc reactor, you know, from Tony Stark. So he wants that, you know, it's going to really power him. So he took that, and Green Goblin kind of doesn't want to die, or he doesn't want to go away, you know, the Green Goblin persona. So he betrays them, and then they fight, and Spider-Man's like no match for him. And in fact, the whole time while Spider-Man is like kind of like on top of him, like, you know, I can't explain it, he's just kind of like on top of him, and he's like punching down on his face, and the whole time Green Goblin is just laughing about it, you know, he's like not affected by it, doesn't hurt him. And then, you know, I'll say this. Aunt May, I'm sad to report, she dies. You know, one of the bombs gets her, and it was very sad, and that sucked. And the last thing that she said was, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. Okay, now we jump to, you know, Spider-Man is like kind of sad, and MJ and the Filipino kid, they're trying to track down Peter, you know, because he, you know, so the Filipino kid, he does the thing, opens up the portal, it says like, you know, I'll bring Peter Parker here or something like that, the spell. But then it's the Andrew Garfield Peter that comes through, and then they do it again, and then it's a Tobey Maguire one, and then they finally come to the conclusion like where he is, where the Tom Holland Spider-Man is. So they go to him, and you know, he turns around and he sees those two, and then they kind of have like a heart-to-heart, and he says the whole thing like, you know, on my Aunt May. First Tobey Maguire's like saying I'm real sorry about Aunt May, you know, and they're talking some more, and then he says that the last thing that she said to me, she said, she's even after all this, she said, I still did the right thing, and that with great power, and Tobey Maguire goes, comes great responsibility. I know, because they know it. It was my Uncle Ben who said that to me, and I think for Andrew Garfield, I think he said the same thing. His Uncle Ben said it. It was right before he died, you know, and so it's kind of like a fate thing, you know. It's like a fate, you know, right before they die. They impart that with great power comes great responsibility, wisdom, before they pass on. So, you know, the three of them team up, and Sandman, I didn't quite understand why he technically wasn't bad. He just kind of wants to get back to his daughter. That's his whole motivation. That's why he sided with the bad guy side. He just wants to get back. Whereas Jamie Foxx is driven by power of the arc reactor, and then Norman, you know, aka Green Goblin, is just crazy. You know, he just wants to. He doesn't want to disappear. He wants to stay. You know, he wants to still be around. So, and then that final fight was pretty great. And then the whole fight at the end where it's a one-on-one with not Toby. I'm getting confused now, but Tom Holland Spider-Man versus Green Goblin. By the way, he doesn't use that mask anymore, which is great. My brother and I always thought that Willem Dafoe had the perfect Green Goblin face. You know, he doesn't need that mask. He has a face of a goblin already, and I'm glad, you know, I don't know if people written in about that, or wrote in about that, or if the directors just kind of realized, you know, why did we got Willem Dafoe to play the Green Goblin? Why did we put this mask to cover up that beautiful goblin-like face of his? When, you know, he's got a face of a goblin already, just not green. He doesn't have to be green, you know, of course, he has got the hood. And that's not an insult to Willem Dafoe. He's got a unique face that can be, you know, just like what he is. And then if he's going to play Green Goblin, he's already got that face. But that fight between Willem Dafoe and, you know, Green Goblin and the Tom Holland Spider-Man was great. It was just like a classic brawl, you know, like a beatdown, and just a classic brawl. So I love that. And then it came a point where, you know, he was going to really kill him. He really wanted to kill him for what he did to Aunt May, but then Tobey Maguire stopped him. And that whole thing was great. And then the touching thing that happens is that Doctor Strange, the only way to repair the damage, because everyone that knows is still coming. They're coming into this dimension, and they're just not going to stop. He has to cast a spell so that everyone forgets that he is Spider-Man, and that's going to pretty much undo everyone's memory about all his past deeds, I believe. So I don't know if that means that they just forget that he's Spider-Man, or if it's that plus they forgot that he was in Civil War, that he was in Infinity War and Endgame, that he contributed to that battle with the Infinity Stones against Thanos. I don't know if that's the case. That would absolutely suck. But regardless, they have no memory of him, and he kind of gets like a clean bill of health kind of thing. And later on at the grave, the tombstone, he's like, you know, kind of saying his prayers and bringing flowers to Aunt May, and then Happy comes by, and you know, he doesn't know who he is, but, you know, Spider-Man, of course, remembers everything. I will say, too, one little thing I forgot to mention is that Daredevil, but as Matt Murdock, is there. And it was a nice little bit because he's talking to him about the situation, you know, needing an attorney. And then the people, you know, the mob of people are still mad at Peter. And one of them throws a brick through the kitchen window, and it's behind Matt Murdock. And Matt just kind of catches the brick. He comes like, and he catches it. And Spider-Man was like, or Peter is like, how did you do that? I'm a very good lawyer. So it's really good. What I love is now everything is canon now. Everything. So you got, if Daredevil is in this, Matt Murdock, and you got Kingpin in Hawkeye, well, that just means that all that Netflix Marvel stuff, Jess Jones, Iron Fist, all that, Luke Cage, it's all canon. Moreover, all the Spider-Man films up to all the way down to the Tobey Maguire, so the Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans and the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans are technically canon now, because this is the, you know, those characters that you see in Far From Home or No Way Home originates from, you know, those you know, those past Spider-Man films. So, you know, so now it's canon, so I love that. And I don't think any of them died, so they can still come back and still serve up as a villain again, which I always thought it was a mistake, killing them off so soon, like within one film, you know, back in the day. So now they're still living. And next time there's some kind of, so this really changes the universe and expands it even further. Now everything is a part of this great, massive verse of the MCU. The only thing missing now are Fox's X-Men, and hopefully they're working something out, and so they can be a part of it too. And maybe even New Mutants, because I really like that one still too, and Cloak and Dagger, you know, that one, because there's reference in the Cloak and Dagger Hulu series about, which now canceled. And same thing with the that's it, yeah, I said Cloak and Dagger, but also with the Runaways too, because they crossed over, Cloak and Dagger and the Runaways crossed over for one episode. So all that can be canon. So all we need now are the mutants to come over. But anyways, what's great is now next time there's some kind of epic crises, you know, something not just a Spider-Man epic crisis, but like another Avengers film or Young Avengers, when that eventually happens, hopefully, God willing. And not only that, I'll tell you, you know, the hidden endings. The midpoint one is you see Eddie Brock as you know, the one who's Venom. He comes in at the end, so there's correlation there, and you already saw correlation at the end of the second Venom film. There will be carnage, so you know that, you know. So he's a part of it now, which is great. And then in that trailer that I mentioned, if you stay for the final credits, it's a Doctor Strange kind of sneak peek look at what's to come. And I saw, it went by kind of quick, but I saw like there was Wanda, she's there, and they bring reference to the events of, you know, Westview in WandaVision. And this is what I saw that excited me the most, is I believe I saw Peggy Carter as Captain America. You saw her back with the star and the brown hair, the brunette colored hair, because it's like a what if now, you know, the multiverse is over. Not the multiverse is not over, the multiverse is open. So there's a thing, and there's what if things, like what if Peggy Carter was the one who took the serum and not Steve Rogers, so, and she became I think it was not Captain Britain, but I forgot what, Agent Captain, I think she was like Captain Carter or Agent Britain or something like that, Captain Carter or something like that. So, you know, I think it's Captain Carter, right? So she becomes the Captain America. I believe I saw her in that trailer. You saw her back at least, you know. So anyways, yeah, that is my review. Hope you all enjoyed. Again, an 8.5 out of 10. Do check it out, and see ya.